So exactly 76 of you may remember a couple months ago when I did a review of Spider-Man the movie game for PlayStation 2. And in that video I kinda sorta hinted that Spider-Man 2 the game would be an upcoming episode. No. You see, I don't really have that much to say about this game. I mean, everyone has talked about it and how great it is and stuff, so what could I really add to that? But luckily, I have a secret weapon. Since it was a licensed game in the early 2000s, Spider-Man 2 had a version on literally everything, and outside of the main console versions, each one was completely different. The Game Boy Advance and DS versions were simple side-scrollers, but the two really interesting versions were the PC version and the PSP version. But I'll save the PSP version for later and just focus on the PC version right now. So each Spider-Man movie game got a PC release, but both 1 and 3 were just the console games with keyboard controls. But Spider-Man 2 PC was something completely different. So let's check it out. So the game came in a cardboard box, which is stupid, but whatever. So it has the same box art as the console versions, but with the screenshots changed. But I must say, some of the advertising slogans on the box were definitely written for the console version. Also, for some reason, the critic quotes were replaced with a brief plot description. So inside the box, we get a jewel case with the exact same everything as the box, so why even bother giving it a cardboard box? Also, why didn't you put the manual in the jewel case? Why did you make it loose? That just increases your chances of losing it. Also, it's in black and white and crappy and... Wait a minute. Who the heck is Puma? He definitely was not in the console versions, and he is also just an extremely obscure villain since I have never heard of him in my life. Also, the jewel case was still sealed, and this marks the first brand new jewel case game I've ever gotten, and removing it was pretty difficult, but I figured it out eventually. Also, despite the fact that the case was literally still sealed, the disc somehow got dislodged. That's how you know it's good quality. Help, I'm being attacked. Oh no. Ah. Okay, never mind, the crisis averted. She's still very cute though. But anyway, let's just get going and play this thing. Oh right, my PC doesn't have a disk drive. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh no. Okay, now let's finally play this. Oh, but first let me move my camera angle here. So after the download stalled at 54% for like an hour, we are finally able to play. Luckily, this game still works on modern versions of Windows. So if you remember, the first movie game opened with an extremely goofy cutscene. And despite my reaction in the video, I kinda liked it. And this game attempted something similar, and this time it just sucks. I guess the more dramatic music does fit the tone of the movie a bit more, but the fact that it is nothing but reused cutscenes from the console game, mixed in with footage of the first game's opening, it just makes it not work at all. I think it's the footage from the original's opening that is the biggest problem, since the footage was made with that like techno music video style in mind, so it doesn't match this big booming cinematic music. But the reused cutscene footage does fit the music much better, so they should have just stuck to reusing cutscenes from the console version instead of reusing the footage from the first game's opening. But even then, it would have massively lacked the charm of the first game's opening. Oh my god, I am 4 pages into this script and still haven't gotten to the game yet. So the game itself starts with another reused cutscene from the console version, showing the scene from the movie where Otto Octavius' experiment goes wrong and his robotic arms become attached to his body, turning him into Dr. Octopus. Also, this is Harry's only scene in the entire game. But strangely, the cutscene has been cut down, and they removed the death of Otto's wife, which I guess they cut because it doesn't come up again in the story, but even then they could have kept it in as some more reasons for him to turn evil. Also, fun fact, this is the scene in the console version that I got stuck on as a little kid and quit the game. Also note that in the console version, this happened halfway through the game, and we had cutscenes before this that set up who Otto is and what he is trying to accomplish and why he wants to do it. You know, character development. But here it's like, lol, he got hit by lightning and he evil now. So after Otto gets hit by lightning, Spider-Man looks right at the device, and it is clear that it is up to us to stop the device, or it just cuts that part out. Okay, so this cutscene was clearly designed to lead into a mission, because it was originally supposed to lead into a mission. So if you're gonna cut that mission out, you should at least add to the cutscene to show the outcome of this event. So after that cutscene, we get the best part of any Spider-Man movie game, the Bruce Campbell narration. And unlike the PC version of the first game, where they just took the console narration and poorly swapped the buttons he was talking about to keys.
Ooh, that's some view, huh? Okay, not really, but hey, this is just training, right? Now, to rotate the camera, push the mouse left or right, or press the target camera left or right direction keys. You can recenter the camera behind you by pressing the target camera down key.
In this version, it's a completely new narration. Probably because this is a completely different game than the console version, but it's still cool. And you can just tell that this was probably the last thing they had him record, because he just sounds so done with this.
Oh, that was great, yeah. Oh, and I don't say that to everyone who bought this game.
Still love him though. Anyway, so he explains the controls to you, and this right here, this might be the worst controls out of any game I have ever played. Well, let's keep playing then. So you move with the WASD keys, pretty standard, and to move the camera, you move the mouse around. And to jump, you right click, and to attack, you left click. Oh my god, this is extremely clunky and awful. Also, remember how on the box of the console version, there was this little advertising blip on the back that said, "Do anything Spider-Man trademark can, with breathtaking new moves and amazing combos." And notice how on this piece of garbage's box, they replaced it with battle enemies and scenes from the movie or challenge classic villains. Yeah, they probably removed it because there are no combos in this game. Yeah, remember all those cool moves you could do in the console version? Well, in this game, you have a basic attack, and this jump kick thing that requires you to right click, then left click, which is already super clunky, and I guess you're supposed to use this when fighting crowds of enemies, but it never works, since most of the time, you're unable to pull it off because they keep hitting you, canceling it out, or I just web zip across the room. You also have some web-based attacks, like in the first game, like pulling someone's gun away or webbing them up. And to pull them off here, you have to move the mouse onto the enemy from a distance, and right-click. And if you're close enough to a surface that the game decides you can web zip to, you move the mouse to said spot, and if the indicator appears, you can right-click to zip to that spot. As you can tell, they have a wide variety of button combinations in this game. Also, this was not in the script, I literally just noticed this while editing, but this section of the tutorial where it teaches you how to fight enemies, this is the only one I've seen where it doesn't force you to do the thing that it's telling you to do. Like, for example, here it tells me to web up the enemy, but I don't do it, and it doesn't force me to do it. Which is really stupid. What kind of game does that? How am I supposed to learn anything if it doesn't force me to learn anything? But what about the web swinging through New York City?
The console game was famous for its incredible open world and extremely innovative physics-based web swinging. How does it work in this game? Well, to web swing in this game, you move the mouse to these little web icons in the sky, then left click to web swing, which really messes with my brain since most other inputs in this game require a right click. And to add insult to injury, half of them aren't even attached to buildings. So after the tutorial, we get our first real level where we have to chase down this blue van with this shock device on top.
Ooh, a shock device. Could this possibly be the Shocker? I mean, he was in the console game, so makes sense that he would be in this version. No.
And usually there would be a requirement to stay within a certain distance of the van as to not lose it, but here just take as much time as you need, there's no time limit. So after struggling to follow the van with these crappy controls, it stops at this prison and I guess causes a mass breakout. So we go over there and punch a bunch of guys and... hold on, this guy up here is shooting at me and... wait a second. Is he using a freaking cartoon laser gun? Why? Yeah, unless I'm mistaken, no one in this game uses regular guns. They all use these big purple laser guns. What is this, a modern superhero cartoon? Oh, you can't show real-looking guns. There are impressionable children watching. We wouldn't want them developing a love of weapons. But to be fair, I think the reason they did this was actually to make the bullets easier to see and therefore dodge. Even then, it's still not easy. But even if I am correct, did you have to make them bright purple? That just gives me water gun for little kids vibes. Anyway, back to the mission. After you punch some more guys and look at the saddest AI I have ever seen. The Rhino breaks out of the jail and I fail at QuickTime events. So then you fight and... what kind of instructions are these? What am I supposed to figure out from this? Also, what is the point of this bio? Half the info is useless. Also, I don't think professional criminal is a profession. This actually would have been a good opportunity to provide, maybe some background info on these characters' origin stories, instead of we just get where they were born. Oh, okay, there's a weakness section on this bio. Good thing I noticed that. Oh, okay, it's like every other Rhino boss fight in history. Got it. Well, actually, that's not true, at least for this first phase. Actually, what you have to do is wait for him to do this smash attack, then dodge the shockwave it creates, and now that he is tired out for some reason, you just punch him. But after only one round of this, we go into the second phase of the fight, where he runs down the block and into this... what the heck?
What kind of technology is this? Since when does the NYPD have this kind of technology?
Also, when did they set this up? He only escaped like 2 minutes ago. How did they already have this prepared? This would take like a minimum of an hour to set up. Or were they just sitting there all day knowing Rhino would escape and run this exact way? What if he went the other way? So now the boss is just like any other Rhino boss fight, and it's insanely easy. When you get his health low enough, a cutscene is triggered where the Rhino breaks through the wall and... wait a minute, this is all it took? What kind of crappy containment field is this?
Hi everyone, thank you for coming to the meeting. Jeremy, did you bring the plans for our Rhino containment fence thing? Yes sir, I have the perfect device right here on my phone. The perfect containment device for this supervillain who likes to ram into walls super hard. Sounds great, Jeremy. But before we leave, are there any big weaknesses we should know about first? Oh yeah, the only weakness is that it'll break if we ram into it really hard. Okay, sounds good. See you next week, everyone.
So after he escapes, he accidentally runs into a pole.
Okay. I know Rhino is dumb, but he's not that dumb.
Then the pole falls down and oh my god! Then after that he gets taken by Doc Ock, who is already evil despite him not even being properly introduced as Doc Ock yet. And Spider-Man somehow sees this despite the cutscene showing him nowhere near this area. Okay, this is so poorly done that I'm going to explain how it should have gone. After Rhino blows up this gas station, we show a shot of Spider-Man reacting to it, and then he hears Doc Ock's arms, and he turns over and sees Doc Ock taking the Rhino. And then we cut back to Spider-Man staring in disbelief, and you would say something like, "Dr. Octavius, is that you?" And then it would cut back to Doc Ock, and he would now be revealed in full, and he would say something like, "Stay out of my way and I won't hurt you, Spider-Man." And then he would take Rhino and leave. Then it would cut back to gameplay with this line of dialogue.
Gotta put these fires out. I'll catch up with you, Ock.
Wouldn't that work so much better instead of this sloppy garbage? This way we get a proper story introduction to Doc Ock as a villain, instead of just, lol, he evil now, I guess. Actually, now that I'm talking about improving cutscenes, what if instead you opened the game with this cutscene from the original game?
The city's been quiet lately. Maybe my luck's finally changing.
Isn't it beautiful, Rosie? This will be my gift to the world. Unlimited energy. The power of a sun harnessed for the good of all mankind.
Don't forget the good of Otto. Eat something. The world will still be here in half an hour.
Hey there, Spider-Man. Looking sharp as always. All right, listen up, Fancy Pants. Let's run through the basics just in case you're not that bright.
That would not only segue into the tutorial level so much better, but it would also introduce us to Otto Octavius and explain what his experiment is, and why he wants this experiment, and that his obsession with his work is probably a little damaging to his mental health, making his turn to evil more fleshed out. Then, once you finish the tutorial, you then show the cutscene where the experiment goes wrong. Then when we get to this level, have the cutscene start with Spider-Man saying something like, "Man, if that experiment kept going, it could have destroyed the whole city, but I hope Dr. Octavius is okay." Then you show the van recklessly driving through the city as a nice segue to the level. So anyway, we put out the fire by just opening the fire extinguishers, and wow, these tutorial screens are the worst. Like, what is this even telling me to do? Well, it's trying to tell me about this endurance meter thing. Like, once I punch enough people, I get these super powerful punches that make really loud noises for a limited time. Then we punch a couple more guys, and we finish the level. So the next level is, I guess, that bank scene from the movie, but it's barely recognizable.
Peter, thank you for taking time out of your school day to come to the bank with me.
Oh my god, Aunt May's voice is terrible.
But you made a brave move in telling me the truth.
I hope you don't spend too much time cutting classes.
Of course not. I'm a model student. Sorry, I don't feel well. Will you excuse me?
Oh, come on! That was clearly two very different takes. They sound nothing like each other. If I had to guess, I think that second line was ripped right from the console game, since it matches most of Toby's line delivery from that game.
Sorry, I don't feel well. Will you excuse me? Oh no! At my birthday dinner, I promised MJ I would meet her this evening. I gotta hurry.
But I don't feel like checking for that, so whatever. And then Doc Ock, who somehow hired a bunch of goons of his own, robbed the bank. So it's Spider-Man time. Also, he appears to be missing his robot arms. What's that about? So first, we have to save Aunt May, and the cutscene framed it like it's a stealth mission, but it's not at all. So first, I punched some guys, and I nearly missed this guy because he never reacted to me beating up his friends. Good game design.
Police work in this city is not what it once was.
Oh my god, Aunt May is a disgrace to voice actors everywhere. Freaking child actors do a better job than you. She can't even keep her old lady voice going.
I suppose I shouldn't be rude, though. Thank you for your help, Spider-Man.
It's like me and my old Jack review series. Also, look at this crap. And the level design is terrible. Look at stuff like this.
Open that safe. I'm opening it as fast as I can. Grab him.
Come on, Spider Bum.
And then there's stuff like this. Why put enemies in this room if there's no way in there? Also, this arrow sucks. Like, it shows you where to go, but not the correct way to get there, which just leads to me going the wrong way half the time. And it doesn't help if there are enemies that will be in these places that you don't need to go, which further confuses me into thinking I'm on the right path when really I'm just not. Why not provide a map or something? Also, why are there all of these rooms that serve no purpose?
Thanks, Spider-Man. Doc Ock's on his way to the basement, but he broke the door when he forced it open.
That line doesn't make any sense at all.
How did forcing the door open break it in a way so that it will no longer open, yet he still be able to go through it? So he forced the door open, breaking the door in the process, causing it to not be openable anymore, but he himself was able to get through the door. This bank level is nothing more than a massive fetch quest. First, you gotta save Aunt May and these security guards, and then they direct you to saving this other security guard, who then directs you to save the other security guard on the second floor, who has a key code to this elevator on the first floor. Also, why does the code only work on the first floor elevator? Why can't I take the second floor elevator all the way down? This is stupid! And to make it worse, while writing this, I realized I made a mistake. That second guard actually gives you a key card and tells you to go to this other room to unlock the door to the second floor before you can save the guard on the second floor. Then you get to the basement, and you save this guard, who directs you to this other guard in a different area that has the code to the vault that Doc Ock is in. But good luck navigating around since all these hallways look the same, and they're even more useless rooms! Then we enter the vault that Doc Ock is in, and he puts down this big security gate that is in here for some reason. Why would you want to lock down only half of the vault? So to defeat him, we first must open this wall.
Do you want to know how to do it?
Simon from Milton Bradley, the challenge intensified to the max.
Why on earth is the way to open this door a freaking Simon Says game? Also, don't bother looking to those tutorial screens for an explanation on how to do this, because it says nothing about this wall. Anyway, once you open it, you have to quickly pull this lever that electrocutes everything and does a lot of damage to you. But now that I look at the footage, I don't think I had to do that since he appears to have gotten his arm stuck in the ground on his own. So maybe he was supposed to pull the lever to reset the pattern? And if so, why was I able to pull it in the first place? But I will never know, since luckily I had a lot of those endurance punches left and I was able to beat him extremely easily. Man, compare this to his counterpart on console. So after you beat him, he escapes through an air vent in the ceiling. Also, if the air vents in this vault are wide enough that he can just stand in them, why didn't I just get in here through the air vents? Also, bank vaults shouldn't have this type of ventilation. What is wrong with this game? So after that, the remaining thugs take Aunt May hostage, and Aunt May breaks Mary Jane's record from the first game of the worst cry for help in history.
Help, Spider-Man!
You're giving Willy Wonka a run for his money.
Help. Police. Murder.
And Spider-Man is really concerned about his aunt's safety.
Poor Aunt May. I hope she's okay.
Oh my god, these instructions are so bad. Oh hey look, an actual time limit. So then we web up the wheels and punch guys and save Aunt May, who continues to kill the art of voice acting.
Thank you, Spider-Man. That's twice in one day you've saved me. Maybe I misjudged you. Have you seen my nephew, Peter?
Don't worry, ma'am. I'm sure he's just fine.
So the next mission starts with Peter and MJ talking when suddenly her car is stolen, so we have to go chase it down, which leads us to the hideout of classic Spider-Man villain, who I'm sure everyone knows, Puma! So we run through his hideout and eventually fight him, but first we have more bad instructions. What kind of weakness is that? He is not used to fighting superhumans? How does that help me beat him in the slightest? So since I don't understand the boss fight, I die, and oh great, it sends me all the way back to the start of the level. So after looking it up, apparently you can dodge his punches, but the game doesn't teach you how to do that, and I still do not know how to do that. So next round, I get him with the endurance punch thing, which starts the next phase of the fight where we chase him around the city, while they reuse the same 3 voice lines over and over again.
You grow tiresome, wall crawler. You grow tiresome, wall crawler.
Luckily, I'm able to beat him thanks to the generous health pickups lying around, and he informs us that he was only a distraction while Doc Ock kidnaps MJ and... Hold on.
All that time spent fighting me, when you could have been protecting your girlfriend.
How on earth did Doc Ock know that Mary Jane is kinda Spider-Man's girlfriend? To know that would mean he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he would have no way of knowing that. How lazy are these writers?
So after failing to reach MJ in time, while also discovering that some of the buildings have invisible walls stopping you from climbing to the top of them, presumably Doc Ock attacks Oscorp and we have to go check it out. And we get the new worst level of the game! So take the bank level and make it way worse, and make every hallway look exactly the same. At first it's same old, save scientists and stuff, but then you learn that Doc Ock planted bombs. But luckily, despite the fact that they are apparently rigged to explode, there is no time limit.
Well, I appreciate that you did that, but Isn't that sort of bomb level 101, that they're supposed to be timed missions?
And ugh. While I'm glad that Oscorp took my advice from last time and scaled down security, whoever thought that making the player do these precision-based platforming challenges with these controls should have been fired. No, not fired, killed.
Also, do you want to know how to disarm the bombs? Oh my god!
At least last time it was kinda challenging, but this time there's only 3 things, which can only provide for so many combinations. And after you stop 4 bombs, you find Doc Ock in a room, and he sends one of his toughest guys to beat us. A generic enemy type we have already fought like 30 of at this point. Also, questionable animation. Then more bombs! Then we find Doc Ock in another room and... What kind of walk cycle is that? It looks ridiculous. Did you forget to add this sound effect? Then we fight Rhino again, and now instead of making him run into a wall, we make him run into whatever these things are. Then in the next phase, we have to shoot these things until they break and freeze Rhino, while also triggering a countdown for us to escape the room before we freeze too. But the countdown's in-game sprite kind of froze at 2 for some reason.
Iced Rhino. Christmas just comes earlier every year.
Is he still alive? He doesn't look like he's still alive. It looks like you killed him. Jesus.
So then we follow Doc Ock up to the roof and... Okay, I guess we're doing this now. I'm not even going to question how Mysterio pulled this off. Oh, are those the,
Hunter-killers
from the last game? This game keeps amazing me with how bad these levels are. Okay, forget the guy who designed the Oscorp levels, who decided to have platforming on tiny platforms with these awful controls. Also, Arrow, where are you? Why did you decide to remove the arrow within the level that needed the arrow the most? So I find this beacon in the sky eventually and decide to go after it, but still, where do I go? It seems like there's a specific way I'm supposed to be going, but there's nothing guiding me through the proper steps, which inevitably leads me to reaching dead ends. So after I fall to my death and respawn somewhere, and start working my way back to where I was, I get this cutscene that didn't play the first time for some reason. And once I poorly platform my way up to this generator thing, a force field appears and blocks me from getting to it, until I punch a short wave of enemies. And once I beat them, I can then destroy this generator thing. And it turns out there are 2 more of these generators, and I have to do the exact same thing 2 more times. After barely navigating my way through this awful level design, giving plenty of examples of this game's broken controls along the way, a pathway opens up and I head through it, and after that, another set of generators. Except now they have guns you have to disarm first. But exactly how to do that I don't know, because these instructions are garbage. I mean seriously, look at this and tell me what you think it's telling me to do. So I took it as, hit the guns with the rocks, then it will expose a weak spot that you can shoot. Okay, let's try that. These frickin' rocks have the worst physics I have ever experienced. Look at this! You have to aim super high to even get close to hitting them, but you can't aim too high or else they'll explode.
Why do they explode when you aim too high? That doesn't make any sense.
And then I thought maybe I need to throw them on the platform and then throw them at the gun, but when they do hit the island, the guns auto-target them, and if you try to pick them up again, they will shoot you. So of course I die, and guess what? It sends you all the way back to the start of this section. So not wanting to travel all the way back when I die, I look it up, and guess what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to throw the rocks on the platform, causing the guns to shoot at them. Then you go behind the guns, and there is your weak spot that you shoot.
How was I supposed to figure that out?
So after we destroy all of those generators, another path opens up, and now it's a kinda boss fight with Mysterio. And forget the guy who designed the platforming. Whose idea was it to design an entire boss fight around these stupid rocks? This is the worst, and at first, it's not even that bad. Mysterio causes it to rain rocks, and you just throw the rocks back at Mysterio. And even the awful physics feel a little bit better. And after hitting him a few times, he goes somewhere else, and you follow him with some platforming in between. But then it hits you. Literally. While aiming the rocks, it becomes increasingly more possible that you'll get hit by one of the rocks that's falling from the sky. So just wait till they are done falling, right? Well, don't wait too long because they despawn pretty fast and then the next wave will start. Oh, and the rocks still explode if you aim too high, and that also causes you to take damage. And also, if you take too long to aim the rock, it just explodes, causing you to take damage. And as the waves continue, that damage adds up really fast, and by the last wave, he starts moving and giving you even less time to aim. And then you realize that the rock physics are still really bad, and then he realizes that there is not a single health refill throughout the entire fight, and when you die, you go all the way back. So luckily, I just barely beat him and start the next phase of the fight with this giant Mysterio robot thing, and I immediately die because no health refills.
Why? This is a completely separate fight, but I'm expected to do that on one health bar?
But luckily, it respawns you at the start of the second phase, so it's not that big a deal. So this giant Mysterio head thing has these homing missiles it shoots out, and you're supposed to shoot the cannons with your webs, and once you destroy one of them, it stops firing, and you get to attack the fishbowl head thing until it shatters, and then you get to punch Mysterio inside, and rinse repeat 4 times. These frickin' missiles, though, I have no idea how you're expected to do this. It's not like there's a short period in between missile shots that you can shoot the cannons with. Once one explodes, it's not long until the next one is fired. I had to hide behind this wall thing and stand in a very specific spot where the missiles wouldn't hit me and I could hit the cannon. But I couldn't hit the last one from my spot, so I had to rush it, and luckily I had enough life to survive. So then Mysterio tells us where Doc Ock is and then disappears, revealing we were in the regular city the whole time.
I could probably talk for like an hour about how that doesn't make any sense and that's not how Mysterio's powers work, but whatever, let's just keep moving. Also, fun fact, by the time I got to these Mysterio levels, I had been recording for about an hour and 14 minutes. And the Mysterio levels alone took me another 57 minutes to complete. So just one level nearly doubled the length of the game.
So Mysterio tells us that Doc Ock is at the train station, and once we get there, we learn that this game had so little budget that they could only afford to make that one walking animation for Doc Ock, and just had him slide across the ground for every other scene.
I'm sorry, there's no one allowed on this train. It's out of service.
So are you.
Also, sick burn, man! Also, this isn't in the script, but I just wanted to get this out. The audio mixing in this game is terrible. That cutscene is a perfect example of that. You can perfectly hear the one guy's line, but then Doc Ock's line is super quiet. So after we defeat all the enemies in the lobby, we fight Doc Ock himself on the train, making this the iconic train fight scene from the movie.
And that was one of the best fight scenes in any superhero movie ever, so let's see how this version compares.
Hold still.
So this boss fight has Doc Ock throwing random objects at us, and we hit them with webs, causing them to fly back. I don't think that's how physics work. Gee, I hope these extremely heavy objects I'm launching into the sky don't hit any civilians.
Oh hey, is that a shooting star? Kinda weird that it's happening in the daytime. Hey, wait a minute, that's not a shooting star. That's a flying dumpster. And it's coming right to— oh no!
Also, aren't dumpsters usually in alleyways? And isn't this train on the street? How long are Doc Ock's arms? Okay, I can't jump to the next platform, and he's not throwing anything at me anymore, so now what? How was your day, Otto? Are you doing anything later? Oh, okay. Now something happens. Don't know what that was all about, but okay.
What the frick? How was I supposed to know that I had to guide my jump to the train? It was a QuickTime event. I didn't know I had to continue to control it.
Where are all these cars coming from? The streets are completely empty. So after we send cars to space for long enough, we get another cutscene. Oh, I guess he'll just stop the train just like the movie. Or not, okay.
Okay, yet another scene from the movie that has nothing to do with the scene from the movie. Check.
So the next level is the dock. Hello, it's me from the future, and I just realized while editing this that this is not a dock, this is a warehouse. So I'm an idiot, my bad. And there's not as much to say about it. It's way easier than the Mysterio levels, and look at that! Health refills! So we work our way through the dock, and eventually have to go through the sewers, and wait a minute. Wasn't this the exact sewer section in the first game? Yeah, it was. The only difference is here it looks worse and has these stupid ceiling cannons. Oh, and it sucks this time, of course. Hey, it's future me again. I just wanted to clear up what I just said. I know it's not one-to-one exactly the same, like it looks kind of different, but I meant that more of just like, has the exact same mechanics, like you can't touch the water and you gotta web zip to the other door and stuff. That's what I meant by that. And once we get through the sewers, we reach the final level, Doc Ock's base. What the heck is this guy doing? Why is he hiding there? So we reach yet another terrible platforming challenge, and here I noticed that this game is very stingy with what you can and can't web zip on. I just want to get over there. Why is that so hard? Mission accomplished, I guess? What do I do here? I'm super confused. The only exit is blocked off by this force field. Does that have something to do with these levers? Well, I can't interact with them, so that can't be it. So, after looking it up, get this. You have to get hit by the force field to trigger a cutscene telling you what to do, and now we can use the levers.
I just can't even keep going.
Wow, an ambush. Thugs are getting smarter, or something.
There's more of us than there is of him. Take him.
Okay, let's get this over with. Really? What was the point of that? So then we reach this section with Mary Jane yelling at me to help her, and it's totally not annoying in the slightest.
Spider-Man, help!
Shut up! I'm trying to find you, I just don't know where to go. So after figuring out that I'm supposed to punch this wall, we save MJ, and now it's time for the final boss.
Not gonna lie, I'm kinda scared. I mean, the console version has to be one of the hardest final bosses in video game history. And that Mysterio fight was a nightmare, so I'm gonna say it, I'm not really looking forward to this.
Oh, never mind, he sucks and is super easy. So Doc Ock just stands on this platform throwing blue barrels at you, and what you have to do is destroy these blue crystal things which will stun him and allow you to attack. Rinse, repeat, and we've beat him. Compare that to the console version where there's this like massive energy thing that keeps growing in size that you have to avoid. And you gotta turn off these switches, some of which are in extremely hard to reach places, while also dodging Doc Ock's brutal attacks, and only after turning off all of these switches can you actually fight him, and all of this on one life bar? So after you beat Doc Ock, he kills himself to stop his machine, and you swing away with MJ, the end.
Really? That's it?
You opened the game with a reused cutscene from the console version, so why not reuse the final cutscene from the console version?
And that was Spider-Man 2 for PC. And what did I think of it? I think we might have a new contender for the worst game I've ever played.
This game is exactly the kind of thing people think of when garbage licensed games for kids are brought up. You can tell that not only was this game super rushed, but also that it had the least amount of passion of the entire series. Everything in this game is terrible. The gameplay? Absolute garbage. This game has some of the worst level design I have ever seen. The controls? The worst I have ever experienced. The story on its own is lazy and lame, and as a tie-in, it has nothing to do with the movie. And it is infuriating that this game shares the name of the best movie tie-in game ever made, and also one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Pizza time.
It is sickening that tons of people probably bought this expecting the critically acclaimed console version, but instead got this pile of dog shit.
And to add more to this pile, there is no reason for the game to be this way. Why couldn't they just make a PC version of the console version? That's what they did for the first game. If there is a reason, you could tell me in the comments, I guess. So now that we're done with the PC version of Spider-Man 2, it's time to set my sights on another bad port of Spider-Man 2, the PSP version. Oh, but not right now, probably within like the next few episodes. So probably next year.